Welcome back to another video, guys. I'm John Drives. Today I'm going to walk you through my process of painting a car. Little disclaimer, I've only painted one car before and it's my Ready 36. I'll show that to you here in a second. But that is what the mess is behind me. Is I'm actually painting my 1995 Nissan 240SX S14 Pro-Am drift car. Now I was going to make a little bit of a mini series painting this car, but I've been in such a rush of trying to get it together that I decided just to kind of do a little quick recap of kind of what my process is and share it with you guys. That way I can keep the build moving along, because I definitely want to get this car out on the track as soon as possible here in 2020. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of share my thoughts and experiences with painting like in my own shop or garage. That way if you're trying to paint your own car, I'll kind of show you what you need and kind of what you can expect in the process. Right now I'm in my shop. This is where I house all my cars, all my parts, and do my work. I painted once before in here. As you can see off to my left, I kind of switched it up this time. And essentially what I did was made a little bit of a paint booth from the lift back to the garage door. So what we're left with now is essentially a little paint booth. That way I can open the garage door, and that gets me to my next point of ventilation. But also wanted to show you this is the first car I painted. Came out pretty nicely. I definitely have some videos on this. I'll make sure to leave the video links to painting this car right here. But essentially what I'm utilizing for ventilation is literally just a bunch of box fans. You can go and pick up cheap box fans at Walmart for like 15, 16, 20 bucks. Or maybe you can find some used ones on Facebook Marketplace. And then you go ahead and pair those box fans with these little 20 by 20 filters at Walmart. You get a pack of 4 for like $4. Super cheap. That way I can go ahead and line the bottom of my garage door with them and have a little bit of a ventilation booth. So now that I have my ventilation set up and my paint booth set up, everything's gonna get covered. Put some plastic down on the floor. The first step in prepping the car is to go ahead and fill in all the dents and do the body work. Now this is going to be a really meticulous process. In my situation, my S14, I didn't really be too particular because it is a full drift car. As you can see, I'm sitting on the roll cage right now. It's going to get destroyed. It's going to get beat up. I'm not too worried about it. Bumpers are going to get flown off at some point, I guarantee you. But there were a few parts of the car that I really wanted to pay attention to, and that was the roof. Doors, I guess, because the doors are, I want them to look nice at first, and then they'll kind of get destroyed. But I didn't want to be over meticulous where it just took way too much time. The rear quarters got these fiberglass over fenders. I'm actually gonna go ahead and prime those. So most of the car is fiberglass. Only things were, I guess, the trunk, the doors, and the roof were the bare metal. Hood's gonna be fiberglass as well. The most difficult part of paint is the prep work. Now this is going to take quite some time. It's not very difficult, it just takes forever, it seems like. So you might ask yourself, where do you start? Where I started with mine was I just sectioned it off. I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the front fender or the rear quarter. With my body work done on my S14 and it's all primed, let me show you where I'm at with that. Roof is primed, filled. Really like how that came out. I do need to prime this. This door is primed. It's not too bad. There's a Bondo spot right here that's a little bit high, but I think I was able to prime it just enough where it filled it in enough. Here's the trunk over here. This guy came out really nice as well. There's one dent right in the middle here that took some Bondoing, but it's not perfect. Like I said, it's a drift car. I gotta get to driving. I wanna drive this thing one day. My next step is to go ahead and clean out the interior, clean out the engine bay, because this thing looks horrific. Look at that. Oh, unfortunately I can't fit the doors, the trunk, and the car in my little paint booth all at once. I gotta do the chassis and the doors and body panels a little bit separate. Took the doors off because I want to paint these jams right here, because you'll definitely be able to see them. So I'm gonna go and rewind and give you just a 30-second quick overview of how I did the body work. Walking you guys to my little paint table over here. This is where I keep all my mess of sandpaper and paint supplies, I guess. So whenever I started off in this car did not have clear coat. It was all gone, it's faded. I went ahead, hit it with a 240 grit sandpaper, smooth everything out, and once you do that you can see kind of where the dents are at, or you can feel them. At that point you go ahead and take your body filler, which I got a big half gallon over there. You'll want to go ahead and fill in the dents with the body filler, and then you want to take your 240 grit one more time, smooth it down, then do 320 grit. Once I was done body filling, I hit it with the 240 like I said, and then 320. Made sure the entire panel is smooth. Can't feel any more dents, you can't feel the Bondo too high, everything's perfectly smooth. At that point, you're ready for primer. Definitely takes a lot of work, a lot of sanding. There's definitely more dents than you think there are in a car, especially once you get down to filling them and really looking at it, and you're looking at it in the light, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many dents in this panel, but it pays off. Like my E36 looks so good. I took 2 to 3 months painting that thing. Like I said, it was my first time and I had to tape off everything. Took forever, but the reward is so worth it. Something I actually learned from a good buddy of mine, Jack Davis, whenever you paint and prime, I was so new to this going into my E36. This stuff actually has ratios on it. So if you go and look right there, it says 4 to 1 to 1 mix ratio. Used with activator and reducer. 4 to 1 to 1. So 4 parts of primer, 1 part of reducer, and 1 part of activator. So what's really cool, if you look at these little cups, this one doesn't have 4 to 1, but it's 2 to 1 to 1. So you can go ahead and fill it to line, let's say 5 with your primer, and then you want to go up to the next 5, and then up one more to the next 5. So it'll be primer, activator, reducer. So that's really cool. So it kind of gives you exactly the right amount of ratio that you need to pour in on these cups. Makes it super easy to mix it up. And same with like the paint. But one thing I realized with my first paint job, if you're going to invest all the money and time in buying the materials and supplies, you'll definitely want to paint more than one car. It just doesn't quite make it worth it if you just buy all the supplies and paint just one car. Like I said, this is my second time painting a car, and I'll probably do more down the road for sure. I'm really excited to see how this S14 is going to come out. This car is going to be a beast. If you're new to the channel, I'll give you a rundown in another video. It will be a 2JZ S14, 500 to 600 horsepower Pro-Am drift car that I will be doing competition stuff in. Oh, can't wait. Something that is a smart move is go to Harbor Freight, buy you a cheap spray gun. This is $16 spray gun, guys. 16 bucks. This is my prime gun. Apparently primer likes to clog up guns real quick. $16 gets it done. Get you a little air regulator and a oil water separator deal. Go ahead and hook you up with one of these. That's what you spray primer with, ideally. At least that's what I do. And then my main gun I use is this bad boy right here, which honestly is not all that expensive or fancy. It is a Protex 4500 XRP. Nothing too fancy. Does good for what I'm doing. You know, I'm not doing show car stuff, just trying to get some fresh paint on there. The guns are the cheap part. The main thing you have to have is a big bad boy air compressor that will run a good CFM to be able to paint. This is a 60-gallon tank, 11 CFM at 90 PSI, so that's pretty good. Does the job fine for painting a car like this. You could probably get away with a little bit smaller, but nothing, you can't get away with a pancake compressor. So in my opinion, if you don't have an air compressor, that's kind of one of the bigger expenses that you might have to buy if you're trying to paint your own car. At that point, you might as well just get it painted. But if you have one, that'll work. All you need is just the supplies and the paint stuff and the guns. This drop plastic is super cheap. You can get like 3 sheets of 10 by 12, 9 by 12 for about $3. And what's nice is you can go ahead and tear it down, throw it away, don't have to worry about it, and go get some new whenever you paint another car 6 or 8 months down the road. So you might be asking yourself, John, where do you get your paint? Where do you get all your supplies? A lot of this stuff I got in my local wholesale auto paint places, what it's called. So do some research in your area, see what kind of paint place there is for automotive paint, of course. Go there, talk to them. Usually they're really helpful. They're not trying to totally screw you over. And paint prices really depends on the color quality that you get. I wouldn't say get the cheapest one. Definitely go for a 2-stage. So it'd be a base color and then a clear coat. Make sure to get a really good clear coat. Makes a world of a difference. The local guys really helped me out. They set me up right. Didn't totally break the bank, and I'm actually using a lot of the same stuff I bought for the E36. I'm using it on the S14. I didn't have to go out and buy more primer. Didn't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you've stayed at the end of this video, I'm gonna give you a sneak peek what color I'm actually painting my S14. It's kind of a random color, but I think it's gonna come out really nice. Are you guys ready to see what color is going on these doors? Now this is it. It might look like primer to you, but I can guarantee you it's a totally different shade in person. It needs to be mixed up a little bit. So this is technically a Hyundai Veloster gray. And if you can kind of see in the light, I don't know how to describe it. It's a really, really light gray. In the sunlight, it looks really light, and in the shadows and stuff, it looks a little bit darker, which will be super cool. I'm excited to try it out. Yeah, there's a better shot. That's kind of how it looks right about there. I've had this bad boy can sitting around for about a year now. Finally got the opportunity to spray it. So if you're wondering, yes, the interior will be sprayed the same color. The entire chassis, the engine bay, interior is all going to be that gray. I'm really excited. I personally like whenever it's the same color as the exterior, as far as the engine bay and interior. I gotta get to work. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this helped you out at all, if you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Also, if you want to stay up to date with the S14 build, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well. This 2020 drift season is gonna be insane. You guys will not want to miss it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I'll catch you guys in the next one.